Hi, my name is Kelly Benish, and I'm presenting on how to maximize ROI and in-store traffic from branded and unbranded search. As I mentioned, my name is Kelly Benish, and I have over a decade in the industry with background in search engine optimization, traditional media, coaching, and consulting. I'm VP of Strategic Partnerships for North America at Uberall, and came over there by way of acquisition from a little Dutch company called NavAds in September of 2018. There's really been this industry consolidation with listings management companies over the last couple of years. What I'm going to present on today is really three parts. So one would be establishing the relevance of near me to our traditional and current climate. And then basically results from our studies, which show that consumer search has become hyper-local, unbranded, and during COVID, that consumers are still engaging locally. And this is really why brands should continue to care. And then how you can increase global visibility and engagement with a local focus and brand experience. I'll be presenting a couple of case studies as we go through this. We rarely see permanence in search trends, but here's why near me is going to stick. So consumers search locally for products and services, and Google has optimized its platform for local searches. Studies show a high level of purchase intent for local searches. So more than half of every Google search is an inquiry into products and services near me. There's about 53% of searches. For example, there's shoe shop near me or garage near me. It's the fastest growing search category that has astonishingly overtaken generic Google search queries. And guess what? Most businesses haven't even noticed the shift. What's more is near me consumers have an intent to buy, with 75% of searches leading to an in-store visit within 24 hours. This all presents a huge opportunity for brands to take the market by storm. And how? By utilizing the near me brand experience. What is the near me brand experience? It encapsulates every online and offline touch point a consumer has with a physical location, whether a global brand or a small business. A positive near me brand experience has huge impact on customer loyalty and attraction. Consumers are on the move, interacting with both your brand online and offline, and the intent to buy is high and price sensitivity is low. By optimizing online visibility and guiding local customers through a seamless and compelling online to offline journey, you can gain competitive advantage. So there's a couple of things that you can do. There's about 5 steps that you can follow. 1 is make your locations visible online. 2 is impress visitors with a strong online presence. 3 would be to guide new customers to your stores. 4, take advantage of personal dialogue. 5, make a lasting impression on customers. This is no mean feat, especially for larger organizations with several branches or points of sale. Marketers will have to get the right balance of local engagement, streamlining processes, and automating as much as possible. Enabling the right market technology, MarTech, will be essential to achieve the highest possible ROI against tight budgets and stretched resources. One of our clients, Andy Duggan, who's global digital marketing at BP, explains that implementing the right MarTech is the only way to manage so many brand touch points. For him, real success can be seen in the feeling a brand conveys to people. 20,000 locations for BP and Wild Bean Cafe, which is another that they own, managed via more than 40 platforms. So that's 800,000 brand touch points across the board. Only those that are genuinely interested in what happens at each touch point can build a strong brand. And if there are 800,000 touch points, there has to be a way to take care of everyone. You need the best technology on the market to manage so many locations in real time. Consumers search for locations in their community equals near me. So a near me search is a local community search. I find validation locally through reviews. I can use my phone right now to find cafes open now that I can physically dine in. And I will read reviews on a Starbucks or even a small boutique cafe with one location, but they have the same review score. For me, as the searcher, the same trust factors are fulfilled. This is why near me is so powerful. My colleague, Greg Sterling, can tell a story about when he was in a conference in New York and he was looking for a local New York City restaurant. What he found was a restaurant about 4 blocks from his hotel. And based on the score, the review score, and complete strangers recommending this location to him, he is walking to the restaurant just 4 blocks away and ignoring 20 other restaurants that he sees. So what does this mean? It means that businesses not showing up in the local pack or SERP are effectively invisible to the searcher that trusts these reviews and this local intent. So the strategy of how to optimize the near me brand experience is really one, determining the current status of your online presence. So as we all know, online competition is fierce and only getting more so. If you really want to stand a chance of getting noticed by both search engines and consumers, you need to build a strong online presence. Before you start, you need to determine your current online performance. Is your online information correct and up to date? It sounds simple, but now more than ever, this is essential as consumers look to brands for reliable and accurate information on opening hours, telephone numbers, addresses, specifically around COVID opening hours, and then also COVID procedures and attributes in GMB. Also, what is the average review rating of all of these locations? In addition to the key players like Google and Facebook, don't forget to check other review platforms such as Yelp and Trustpilot. Research reveals that just 0.1 more star rating leads to about 25% more conversions. So it's absolutely a worthy investment. Does the brand respond to the customer reviews? In one of our reports, it's our reputation management and revolution report, we found that conversions almost doubled when response rates rise from 10 to 30%. The other thing that you can do is identify key stakeholders and make a near me team for success. So what kind of business model does your clients have, or does your brand have? Do you manage the marketing for a global brand with hundreds of locations worldwide, an SMB, or a franchise company? Depending on how you operate, there are several ways to identify and manage stakeholders. Some companies take ownership centrally, managing all functions from head office, while others include stakeholders at a regional level or even appoint ambassadors locally. However you choose to do it, it's important to set clear goals that everyone can work towards, ensuring important information is reviewed and promoted. The other things that you can do is really take a look at auditing all of your locations for better accuracy. So list all online directories where you're present and highlight key platforms for which you're missing. You need to be wherever your potential customers are searching. You can refresh. You can identify and remove any duplicates as they can result in lost traffic from platforms penalizing your whole account for spam, confusion created amongst consumers, or even dilution of your local SEO ranking. And then optimize. Utilize all of the feature on offer and include as much information as you can. For example, Google My Business has just launched corona-related health and safety attributes. These are what I alluded to earlier, such as mask required and appointment required. Don't forget to add images and video content to make it more appealing. And then also update. So create processes so that online content is regularly checked for accuracy and updated where required. Appoint ambassadors to get behind the mission. Create. You can use your local SEO know-how to create and share keyword-driven content within your listings. For example, include FAQs in Google Q&A. Create basically a keyword repository there. The key to successful implementation and continued management of these processes is automation, especially if you have multiple locations to manage or you have multiple location clients. Choosing the right MarTech solution will relieve pressure on your stretched team, bringing the Near Me brand experience for all locations to life on one platform and reducing replicated tasks. You also need to engage with local consumers. So, an authentic brand experience is much more than just data. Yes, correct and current information is essential to success, but don't forget the personality of your brand. Give consumers an insight into what it's like to walk into one of your locations. You're delivering a personal service executed digitally. A great way to engage with consumers is through reviews. So online reviews are a top decision factor when consumers conduct an unbranded near me search. So reviews on your location pages of directories such as Google and Facebook need to be managed quickly and efficiently. This will show those yet to make a decision that you're a brand who cares about them as a local consumer and enable you to improve your star rating in the long term. Also, last thing here is measure your success. There are several KPIs that you can use to measure the performance of your near me brand experience. Your online visibility can be determined through views and clicks, while star ratings and the number of new reviews, as well as your response rate, provide an effective tool of measurement for reputation management. This is Justin DeGraff's answer to a question less than a month ago by a marketer on COVID impacting the local approach to marketing. The idea here is to show the resilience of near me searches. Our behavior was always local. Now it's just hyper local. Also, to provide some foundation on the study later that shows the increase in local engagements. People want local experiences and they trust local stores. And they're being driven by circumstance into a habitual local way of engagement with brands. This is somewhat paradoxical as people have become more reliant on the internet than ever. And they're even more intensely focused on their communities and still supporting local brands and stores. I personally found myself actively supporting my local stores and community as COVID hit. It's hard to ignore the appeals and outcries on social media to help save some local historical restaurants and music venues. While convenient, I stay away from ordering platforms such as Uber Eats, DoorDash, Chow Now, and others that are going to take a hefty percentage off the top and out of the restaurant owner's pocket, especially when they're SMBs. I typically tend to go old school and I'll just call them to place my order. And then I try to do takeout and go pick it up direct from the restaurant at least 3 times a week. In a recent Joe Rogan podcast, he claimed that brick and mortar is dead, but the numbers really don't support that flawed opinion. Overwhelmingly, online search, offline sales near me has grown during Corona. And the learning here is not that brick and mortar is in trouble, but you need to adapt to offer customers more choices. So, will that 90% number survive? Who knows? When we look at a report by Goldman Sachs, they say that about 51% of SMBs are in trouble financially, that they don't have the revenue on hand to support that business for more than 3 months. What we find is these businesses are resilient. Mom and pops are getting it together, and you have hairstylists out there that haven't been able to serve their clients for 7 months. What are they doing? They're creating custom dye kits for their clients and hosting Zoom meetups to show them how to dye their own hair. Same thing with supermarkets. There's already prepared meals, and fuel retail have in their forecourt fueling area. Actually, in some instances, some of our partners are rolling out already prepared meals where if you have to get gas on your way home from work or on your way home from something, you can stop and pick up this already prepared meal. So these businesses are getting creative and finding other ways to serve their customers locally. Why is it important to be found locally? I would think that you already understand that value, but the definition of branded versus unbranded in itself. Why do we put branded search together with direct search? Because global brands have to stop thinking of location specific searches as a search for the brand and understand that customers are interacting locally with a business near them rather than searching for any random Starbucks location. Some other non-branded category search examples I've seen include services near me, plumber near me, cheap mortgages, or open now, which really gained traction during the emergence of COVID. Demand-driven actions grew tenfold, and accuracy is always paramount. The majority of all local searches are unbranded. Global brands need to stop thinking global and think local. There was a Moz report a couple of years ago in which they analyzed 1.2 million SERPs and found a local element, a local pack, on about 73% of pages, which really reinforces the idea that Google is localizing more search results and there are fewer truly national results. Brands really need to understand that their share of search will be different depending on their industry, depending on how many consumer touch points before purchase, etc. Many factors really influence this. When we look at products versus services, B2B versus B2C, marketing initiatives, brands selling through physical stores versus franchise, difference of product or service. What we found too is that stores are at an advantage if they have good customer experience. Retailers and sellers must be visible at every stage of the purchase journey. Local visibility is critical, even for e-commerce, and loyalty programs are key to retention. But omnichannel convenience is a must. I know there's COVID exhaust, and I hate to bring it up again, but this graph here represents a problem for brands today. In times of trouble, consumers turn to local searches and seek accurate info about local stores, opening hours, etc. Correct brand level info is not enough. Local engagements are increasing. We're seeing an increase in phone calls and website clicks as consumers are seeking this information. This is also mirrored in an earlier SOS study that found that the vast majority of social media engagements with brands, about 72%, occurred on local Facebook pages. Consumers want to engage or interact with brands locally wherever possible. While you need to be able to direct consumer traffic to both online channels and offline channels, they will still search per usual local, but they need options when traveling directly to the store, and when traveling directly to the store is no longer an option. So you also increasingly see local stores showing up for what would have been pure e-commerce product queries just a few years ago. So searches like best wireless earbuds. This really goes back to the point made in the Moz study and also speaks to the importance of retailers getting more of their in-store inventory online. Here are the steps you need to take in order to take advantage and increase these searches. We did pull together an analysis of 22 global brands, about 48,000 locations, overall customer locations total, and found that leveraging a platform to manage locations, as Andy Duggan from BP mentioned earlier, really helped to increase visibility and engagement across the board. How you can increase visibility by having the right product and service categories listed, making your visible online for more searches, satisfying more intent, and introducing yourself to a wider segment of users. And an increase in impressions like map views translates into engagement like clicks to call and clicks to navigate to stores. It's really a direct stream towards increasing foot traffic, and it reaches new customers across the board. And then how do you really build that local engagement? The left graph really shows a correlation between business reply rate increase and the increase in engagement on their GMB profile. Those brands that reply to 30% of reviews have an 80% higher engagement rate, and the bigger the brand, the better the engagement. SMBs that reply to the same amount of reviews have an increase, but not by as much. The right graph shows that global brands are just as bad at replying to reviews. SMBs are much better, and large brands can win if they engage. Here are also some tips on creating a better brand experience. So, search has become more fragmented and specific, offering consumers more choice across online to offline process ensures the ability to create a better brand experience overall. E-commerce first brands think differently to traditional brick and mortar first thinking. For instance, CarMax understood that offering a seamless online to offline consumer journey meant training in-store staff to provide the same experience that a consumer would find on the website. Improving the brand experience means aligning your locations with your digital communications at the store level and at the brand level. Having this kind of flexibility means that you can be agile at your brand level with your messaging, and then this can be filtered down to the location level. There are also the failures, like David's Bridal, who fell victim to lack of review response, negative reviews, and lack of overall cross-platform visibility. They were missing from so many different social sites. The value for large brands is obvious. We are able to show how they're failing, so at visibility and engagement, and why they're failing. And the real ROI value for those brands is that they get it right. This is proving an increase in visibility and engagement overall. This is a no-brainer for large brands, really, as the key for brands is being able to communicate accurate info at the location level and then engage customers in a conversation consistently. So when a big brand shows that they care, they get a lot more engagement than an SMB. And we, Uberall, as an agnostic platform, we actively manage our partners' locations with a platform, and that really helps them to improve this visibility and streamline and scale across the board. So to recap some major tips to drive branded search. 1, use customer reviews to understand what you're doing poorly and what can be improved. 2, engage with customers to raise trust. They don't want to feel like they're engaging with a brand, but a person that understands their concerns and feelings. The more you engage, that's number 3, the more you engage, the more engagement you get back online. It's reciprocal. And number 4, create an in-store experience that increases branded search, not just offering a good experience in store, but offering ways in store that they can connect online and build your brand when it's at top of mind. One question that I want you to think about is, why is it so challenging for brands to think locally? And why is it so challenging for mom and pop to think globally? Opening it up to any questions now. Thank you.